I am on a committee with Lily here in Hayes to help educate people about team and getting people excited and ready to do team. Lily is our regional director, which means she is very, very busy. If she is not able to answer you and you need an answer or you need to arrange a time to learn how to do team, I am more than happy to help and answer your questions. Here's my email, here's my phone number. Starting December 1st, already passed, team had opened up. So from then till April 2nd, this is your to-do list. Make sure your TAEA membership is paid for. Ours is done by our district, so see how yours is done. Then you're going to register, be a teacher registered for team, and you're going to start entering your student names. These don't have to be their real names, and I'll show you that. And you can now do multiple entries at a time. So when you come down here, I put a link for how to get to the online registration. Here, you're going to submit your teacher registration form. It's going to have your TAEA number now that you're registered. You're going to put your school information, and that's all things I've already given you. And you're going to acknowledge that Lily's not going to be able to fix anything after the deadline. So you need to make sure that any help you ask for is before the deadlines. And then you're going to save your entry. You're going to come over and you're going to see the team regions deadlines. This is going to tell you if you're in as a team teacher. There is a little click down menu that you might have to change things for, and then it will give you all the deadlines right here as well. So let's add some students. You can add a single entry or you can add multiple. So let's say I'm going to do a couple students, and then you're going to submit those entries. When you go to your teacher dashboard, you can see these students and you can edit your entry. So now I can put my students' real names here. I could put their real artwork title here. And I'm going to do all of this before April 2nd. You have a little bit more time for the other things. You still have time also to add more students. After you've added these students, and you need to have this paid for by April 2nd. So those are the big things that you're working on now. And you also want to make sure that they are paid for, $12 per entry. Your school district has multiple ways to pay for it. You can pay just for your entries, or if your school is paying for it or your district is paying for it. These are the different links for those. I like to make sure that I have my artwork release form before I ever enter a name. But let's say that Barbie is not the person. I can now go and change to whichever kid actually turned in the permission form. I generally don't even enter their names until I've gotten this release form. After you have the name and the title of the artwork up, then you can start uploading things. Like I said, I always like to make sure I have my artwork release form done before. After you choose your file, make sure it's a PDF. You're going to upload the artwork release form. You can enter your student intent form. This is going to be where you put in its measurements, and then a lot of teachers will have their students handwrite their answers on the intent form that the team gives you. I have my older students actually type out their answers on Artsonia. That way I can come and copy and paste straight in there. It just makes my life a little bit easier. You can also bring your younger students just over to the computer and let them tell you their answers, and you're allowed to transcribe. I know Lily uses a computer lab, and she will go and have the students write in their answers into the actual form themselves. And then I'll push save entry right here. And then I'll return to the teacher dashboard. Here, I'll add my image. Since this is a 3D piece, you can do only JPEG pictures, but I made sure to have a couple angles. If yours has a lot of interesting angles, be careful, because when it gets bigger, make sure the judges are going to get a great view of all the different angles. If this was my student's real name, it's not. I would push certified now here. I'm going to go put in her real name, and then I'll come back and push that. When you certify now, you then have to enter this code. Sometimes it's a little tricky, but they'll just give you another code to do. And then you push certified. And now that one is locked, and I'm not going to be able to edit any further. Let me show you where I found some of those other things. All right. So when I come to deadlines and instructions, at teacher resources and print menu, here is where I can find a lot of really great information about like how to take pictures, what are some rules to make sure that your pieces are following the rules and not going to be disqualified. Here is practice forms for your students. So like I said, a lot of teachers like to give their kids these forms, and then the students can write out their answers. After April 2nd, the regional entry certification form is going to become a live link. You can click that and then print it out and have your principal sign it. The things you need to do before the 2nd. You need to put in your student names. They could be fake names for now, but by the 2nd, they need to be their real names and their real titles of their artwork. And you need to have your payments due. My district likes to have an earlier due date. So here you're going to get your principal's signature, but you're also going to be doing all of these things because they are due by midnight on the 22nd, and you cannot make changes after that. All your titles are due, all your artwork is due in a JPEG form, all your release forms are due in a PDF form. I've added converters here for you. Your intent forms, which I call student essays, are also due. You're going to copy and paste or transcribe all their answers. And then you need to make sure it's their words. You're just the fingers on the typing board, or that you log in and let them type into your account. And then upload that principal certification thing. Lily cannot help you with any of these things after the 22nd. At that point, she's going to be getting everything in order for her judges from other regions. And then usually the results are up by the end of the weekend, depending on how many people are entered. And then Lily will send out a courtesy email to let people know when scores are in and how and when medals and ribbons will be distributed. If you want to print out your results for your students, that link under that print forms tab will also be open, and you can print out certificates. We want to make sure that you don't get disqualified. Lily gave us a great list of the number one things that could disqualify you. Copyright's the biggest issue. Don't let them copy any kind of character from TVs, movies, films, books, etc. If they're doing a still life, if they can have an M&M package or a Sprite package, but you need to make sure that it's the kind without the characters, like the little M&Ms. If you're using an artist as an exemplar, that the art the student makes doesn't look like that artist's work. I like to teach self-portraits using Picasso's self-portraits over the years, but I would never have my students draw like Picasso to make their self-portraits. They make self-portraits in their own way. When I teach a team, because I do it as a lesson in my class for artistic design, I'll put a link for that down here. I give them like checklists, tools and things like that, and they have to really come up with their own ideas. Make sure that multiple students' art doesn't look like they're from the same lesson. Sometimes you'll see 5 owls that look almost exactly the same entered, and they will all get disqualified because they all came from a follow the teacher direction lesson. Once again, no violence, no drugs, no nudity. And any photographs, because they can enter photos, have to be taken by the students.